Sorry about that, guys. You got, it seems like these practice days when guys come to practice, we got recruits from all over the place coming to practice, and obviously I can't talk about who or what, but you got guys coming in. Usually after I leave you, I go meet with a bunch of recruits and then start watching tape about 7 p.m. But had practice 13 today. I think our guys are starting to get a little exhausted. Always talk about the emotion and energy of practice 1 and 2. They're all juiced up, and now we're getting to practice 14, and they're like, obviously spring game coming up this weekend. We got to get them freshened up. We've had a tough, in fact, I got a high school coach in today who played at Maryland, played for Ralph Friedgen. He goes, that was like a Ralph Friedgen type practice, which is a good thing. And to me, that's a compliment. Ralph's a heck of a coach, but it's a compliment because it's kind of like goes back to old school. Okay. We've had a physical spring. We've had physical winter workouts, and our guys got bigger, faster, stronger, as we talked about when spring ball started. But we've had a lot of good practices. We've got a lot of plays, and we got a lot of work done throughout the entire spring. That's what I'm fired up about. Not as healthy as I'd like to be. We'll be a lot healthier in the fall for sure, but happy about the work we got in. That's the most important thing. Is that we've got a lot of plays in, and I think we have a tougher football team right now than we had last fall, and that makes me feel better and sleep at night. So, spring game's coming up. We got the draft tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
Live and in person. We will split up the seniors and try to figure all that out tonight. Split up the staff, and got a lot of work to do here as I walk out of here to get ready, and we'll be ready for a spring game on Saturday. Questions?
Pat, you mentioned tougher team. Is that one of the big goals that you came into this camp with, is instilling that back in the program?
Yeah, I mean, I just, I think every year you talk about toughness up there, and I think you think you're tough sometimes, and maybe you get talked out of things as a head coach sometimes, and maybe we're doing too much of this or too much of that, but it comes down to playing the game of football the way it's supposed to be played. We can avoid stuff and try to, sometimes you worry about staying healthy and like we got to play football. We got to play football the way it's supposed to be played. We got to try to do it as smart as we possibly can, but you got to play the game. And that was obviously, goal coming in is to be even tougher than we've been, because you have to be to win this conference.
What kind of things have you seen on the field that makes you think this is a more physical or a tougher team than last year?
Yeah, I mean, just watching the physicalness of a drill, the physicalness of a team period, guys getting after it, not just like taking care of guys on the field. I mean, we've gotten after each other. It's been a physical battle every day, and there's competition going on every day. And I'd say this, Jerry, that there's more of it. Okay, I mean, you had it in the past, and maybe you pulled back a little bit as a head coach, just to make sure we're okay. You got to protect them and all that stuff. We haven't really pulled back. We've put the foot down, and we've kind of just said, hey, we're going to keep going, and at least I said I was going to keep going, and everybody's saying, okay, let's keep going. And that's kind of what we've done.
Have there been any guys that have been kind of the driving factor for that?
Great question. I'd say they better all be. The one guy's right here. It's like last week we sat here, and a lot of times I don't put up the whole practice schedule on a scrimmage day, but I said put the whole thing up there, and they looked at it like, oh, looks really long. I was like, hey, have I ever brought you out to practice and it's been too long? They're like, no. And but we're not going to do too much. We're not going to do too little. We're going to do just enough to give them the right medicine to be a good football team and win a championship. And that's what we need to do to become a better football team. So I think it's everybody. They all got to be in, and it's important.
Pat Desmond talked about the defense winning him. He said he felt like this was the closest the offense had been to coming back. What did you see from the offense as far as any steps forward in scrimmage?
Yeah, great question again, Chris. Desmond's, first of all, I put him in for a reason. I wasn't excited about him in the first scrimmage. He kind of loafed a couple times, and again, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like during the play. It was like a weird play, but like protect your quarterback, do those things. But he's a tough son of a gun. Let me just tell you. I mean, he's one of the toughest players on the football team. I think. I mean, I got a lot of respect for him as a football player. He's a great human being, and he makes us better. But to go back to the scrimmage and why I was closer by the offense, and again the defense won. And again I tell them every week it's going to be the turnovers, and our defense has worked on getting takeaways and did a nice job with it. But our offense gave it's called giveaways too. And again, it's learning the offense and still start some of that stuff. But there was I think Nate threw for 254 yards. Put it that way. There was some explosive plays. We ran the ball well when we ran it. Those things, and again, there's the RPOs and all the different stuff that you might not necessarily see on Saturday that you'd like to see, but there was just more explosion. There were some drive killers with turnovers, which the game's not even close if we don't turn it over. So I liked the plays we made. I saw a lot of good stuff that way. And again, there was good stuff both sides of the ball that you liked, but there was bad stuff on both sides of the ball that we got to eliminate from our game.
Is Sincere Edwards pushing for some lane time in the fall, too deep?
He is. He is definitely pushing forward. He's still learning it all. The defense too. He still gets confused at times, but for a freshman, he's a different level guy right now. He's got a motor. He's physical. If you guys all stood in line here, he's gonna run through you and not care. Like he's just going after you, Chris. I mean, he'll probably watch out for Jerry. But he's I guess he's reckless. That's what he is. He's reckless. And and to me, some guys, freshmen come in, they're cautious, they're looking around, like, am I allowed to do this? Like, the dude's reckless. He plays reckless. He practices reckless. And can't wait to see him in a game.
Last year you had the spring game, the offense versus defense. This year you decided to go back to more of the blue spring or the blue gold way of things. What made that decision?
Yeah, I really didn't want to do it a year ago. I don't want to say got talked into it, Jerry. Sometimes you get talked into it. Well, we got to do it this way. It's better than all that baloney. Okay, and that's the first year I've done it like that. And again, maybe it's a soft way of doing it, I guess, Jerry. Maybe that's all part of the toughness. The drafting is harder. Makes it harder on the offense, defense. Maybe it's not as clean a scrimmage as you'd like it to be. Because of maybe some things are mixed up, and we'll have our little flavor to do it this year to make it even better. We'll show you that tomorrow, but we're gonna have a draft. We're gonna draft the coaches out today, this afternoon, and it'll be done the right way. And again, I just didn't like it last year. I think it's just another day of practice. I guess that's one of the reasons. I was going to a draft anyway, but it was nice in the last 2 weeks the kids started thinking about it. Like, Coach, we're doing a draft, right? I'm like, yes, we're doing a draft. So they want it too, but I'm not doing what they want. I'm doing what we think is best for the team, and I think that's absolutely the best for the team.
Will you try to keep the offensive lines at least together? Like,
I don't know, Chris. I'll tell you tomorrow. What do you got? Inside info or something?
seems to make sense. What
It doesn't make sense. So we've done it for years that way, and it's you can do it either way. But that might be one of the changes, Chris. I feel like you got a microphone or a staff room or something.
do you feel like you've had more turnovers this spring, more takeaways, like either defense causing or giveaways from the offense?
It's a good question. I doubt it. I doubt it. Probably about the same. We've had turnovers back when Kirk Cousins was quarterback. He's going to turn it over in spring. But I can't say it's more. I'd have to go back and really look at it. But I probably can pull out spring ball stats from a year ago. But I would say it's probably about the same. Maybe a couple more, but not that many more. I'd say this: we've had certainly less fumbles this year than last year. I would say. Maybe more interceptions.
Nate, Sincere talked about how stopping the run is to come before they get all these sacks and everything like that. Get back to being that way. How have they done? What has the defensive line done, front seven done in that respect?
Done a good job. I mean, it's day by day. Did they do as good a job as they needed to Saturday? Last Saturday, no. Our goal is to hold people to 3 yards. I think overall with the ones and twos out there, I don't think we got our run hole on Saturday, which is good for the offense, bad for the defense. So, again, who was on the field, who made the mistakes, these are all things, they all won't be on the field, right? We get our best 11 out there, our best 15, 18, 22 guys. We're trying to give everybody reps, and sometimes that happens. But So, you know, it's a work in progress.
You did a lot of ones versus one reps on Saturday.
We're drafting, so it won't be any ones versus ones. You just remember you saw the ones versus ones, you had that little party day you had, you saw ones, I told you that's better.
That was it.
That's all you get. And that's why I said that, you know, Saturday scrimmage was the best scrimmage. You know, but this, it'll be drafted, so it's gonna be a mixture of ones, twos, and threes. So you're not gonna see the whole thing
Is
again.
that to avoid injury maybe?
No. No, not at all. It's just to have some fun, competition, split it up. There's some adversity. If I'm the right guard, I gotta work next to left tackle, or your quarterback's gotta work with a different center maybe than he's had during the spring. It's just, you never know. But it's just a way to have fun. It's not just another day of practice. Because I think if I gave him another day of practice, they'd be like, ones versus ones again. Is it thud or live, coach? It's live. You know, I think that gets old after a while. Whether it's 15 days of spring ball or 15 days of camp, it gets old. So it'll be the draft, so it'll be more ones, twos, and threes versus ones, twos, and threes.
Does that allow, does that allow for more guys to kind of jump out off the page that may not usually?
It should. I mean, it gives everybody an opportunity, right? I mean, it gives, you know, backup right guard maybe plays with a left tackle, or gives a defensive end working with a D tackle, or a safety that's working with a different corner that he hasn't normally worked with, and he's got to start leading that guy. So it gives guys, opportunity to practice with somebody else, play in a game with somebody else, and maybe learn something from him.
And now that you're reaching the end, towards the end of spring with only 2 practices left, how has Nate handled all of it, Yarnell, all of the not just the on-field, but the leadership, all the aspects that you're looking for from him?
Yeah, I think, he's not really worried about leadership right now. I think, our seniors and our leadership council have to lead. He's on both of those, or I should say he's on the leadership council, but, I just want him to pick up the offense right now. I want him to be the best, quarterback that he can be. I give him a B right now, give him, a B grade, after 13 practices. He needs to get better just like everybody else in this room. He's got a ways to go. He can be better for sure, and he will be better. He's 13 days into a new offense that's totally different than what we've done in the past.
When we talked to Sincere, he said one thing that we asked about Dayon. We've talked about Dayon before, but he said that one thing that Dayon is having to do is sit with him at the front of the classroom. What kind of other things have you seen Dayon as far as like a level of maturity that like whoa, that's different from last year?
I'm not sitting in that D-line meeting room at all, and so I hope Dayon's leading in little ways like that. We still have a long way to go as far as leadership in this room across the board. I always say this: good football teams are led by the team. If I've got to lead them every step of the way, and I got to put a collar on their neck and walk around with a leash, we're gonna have problems. Those guys have to lead, so I hope they're leading in the classroom. I hope they're leading off the field and leading in this room, in this building when they're here. But we'll find out, in December how well they led. You can talk and do whatever you want to do right now. What do you what's going to happen in the summer when the coaches go on the road in July? And that's when I want leadership. That's when we'll find out. Because right now, coaches are leading, and they might lead in little ways, but hopefully they take the reins and go.
Anything else? What position group has impressed you so far throughout practice and scrimmages as well?
Ooh. That's a darn good question. Great question. The group that's impressed me, to be honest with you, is a group that's kind of banged up, that we're down numbers. We have a little motto going on over here, whatever it may be, we're down numbers, is the linebacker group. The linebacker group, guys that are functional to play the game. Luke Delgado, I'm just talking from the top. Kyle Lewis had a heck of a spring. Brandon George had a heck of a spring. Down to the bottom of Dylan Bennett and Abe and just those guys, Luke Delgado. Those guys have just stepped up. Like you put them in there, like last spring, you'd be like, oh, like when they go in, it's like not good. Okay, now I'm looking at like these guys have grown up and done some great things. To me, I'd have to look at it as a whole with the injuries we've had at that spot here in the spring at least. That they've stepped up, and I don't go, we can't go inside today with the twos because it's not what is, practice and coaching, that's it. So that group has done a nice job this week, I'd say. And again, there's others, but you asked me to think about that, and that's my answer, sticking with it.
All good?
All right?